Welcome to Headstones and Microphones, where we use AI to step into the past through a researched, first-person simulation of history's most interesting people. I am your host, Calvin. While we've added some creative storytelling, our goal is to inspire your own study of these fascinating lives. Now, let's meet our guest. I am absolutely thrilled for today's show. We are sitting down with a man whose name is synonymous with the highest honour in college football. For those who may somehow not know who you are you?
I'm John Heisman. Most people today know my name because of a certain bronze trophy. But in my day, I was a man of many hats, a player, a coach for nearly 4 decades, an actor, and a true believer that football is the greatest game ever devised.
A legend indeed. To start at the very beginning, when and where were you born?
I arrived in this world on October 23, 1869, right in Cleveland, Ohio.
And what was your given name at birth?
My parents named me Johann Wilhelm Heisman.
Is there a story behind your birth name?
It was a nod to my German heritage. My father, Michael Heisman, was a German immigrant. As I grew up in America, Johann Wilhelm naturally transitioned into the more English-sounding John William.
That makes sense. What was your hometown like growing up?
Cleveland was a bustling place, but we moved to Titusville, Pennsylvania when I was a boy. That was oil country. It was a rugged, hard-working environment that certainly instilled a sense of discipline in me.
What was your family life like?
It was quite traditional. My father was a cooper by trade, making barrels for the oil industry, and he was a very firm, practical man. He wasn't exactly a fan of frivolous things like sports, which made my love for football a bit of a point of contention early on.
I bet. So what kind of kid were you?
I was intense. Even as a boy, I had a dramatic flair and a very analytical mind. I loved to read and I loved to perform. If I wasn't on a field, I wanted to be on a stage.
What were your biggest fears growing up?
I think my biggest fear was leading a life of stagnation. I was always terrified of being, quote, average. I wanted to innovate, to change things, and to leave a mark on whatever I touched.
What did you dream of becoming as a child?
Well, because of my love for this stage, I actually dreamed of being a professional actor. I loved the theater and the power of a great performance. Football, fortunately, allowed me to combine that theatricality with strategy.
What were some of your favorite activities in school?
I was quite fond of the drama club and forensics, public speaking, you know. But once I got to Brown University and then Penn, it was all about the gridiron.
What was your first job?
Aside from helping my father, my first real career move after college was coaching at Oberlin College in 1892. I was paid the princely sum of around $400 to build their football program from scratch.
Was there a moment where you realized you were different from everyone else?
It was during my playing days at Penn. I realized I wasn't just watching the ball. I was watching the mechanics of the entire field. I saw the game as a series of problems to be solved with logic and innovation, rather than just brute force.
What's a decision that changed everything for you, but felt small at the time?
In 1903, I saw a game between LSU and Cumberland where the quarterback accidentally fumbled, then jumped on the ball, but before he did, he sort of tossed it forward to avoid a tackle. It was technically a foul then, but it sparked the idea in my mind for the legal forward pass. I spent years campaigning for it.
That changed the game forever. What was your biggest break?
Moving south to coach at Clemson and then Georgia Tech. At Georgia Tech, we had an incredible run, including a 33-game undefeated streak. That really cemented my reputation as a mastermind of the sport.
What were your biggest struggles before success?
Convincing the quote-unquote old guard of football to change. People thought my ideas, like the forward pass, the snap of the ball, or even the hidden ball trick, were either illegal or unmanly. I had to fight for every rule change.
Did you ever consider quitting?
Never. I had too much energy. If I wasn't coaching, I was acting in summer stock theater or writing for newspapers. I couldn't sit still long enough to quit.
Were there any specific daily habits or routines that you feel are essential to your success?
Discipline was everything. I was famous, or perhaps infamous, for my strictness. I didn't allow my players to drink coffee or tea during the season, and I insisted they eat raw meat because I thought it made them more aggressive. I also had a very specific way of speaking. I wanted every word to carry weight.
Raw meat. Wow. What job would you have had if fame never happened?
I likely would have been a full-time Shakespearean actor or perhaps a lawyer. I loved the theater of the courtroom just as much as the stage.
What was your life like before fame?
It was a lot of traveling and proving myself. I moved from school to school, Buckle, Oberlin, Auburn, constantly building programs from nothing. It was a nomadic life, focused entirely on the craft of coaching.
How did relationships change after success?
People certainly looked to me as an authority, but I think I remained quite a private person. My players respected me, though they often feared my sermons on the field.
Did fame bring happiness?
Satisfaction, certainly. I found happiness in the progress of the game. Seeing the forward pass legalized in 1906 gave me more joy than any personal accolade.
What was the downside of becoming famous?
The pressure to maintain perfection. When you are labeled a genius or an innovator, people expect a miracle every Saturday.
What misconceptions did people have about you?
Many thought I was just a cold, rigid disciplinarian. While I was strict on the field, I had a deep love for literature and the arts. I wasn't just a football man.
What past regrets did you carry that you spoke about?
I often wished I could have done more to standardize the rules earlier. There was so much regional variation in the early days that it hindered the growth of the national game.
Tell me about a time when everything went wrong, and how did you handle it?
During my final years at Georgia Tech, my personal life was in transition, and the team's performance dipped. I handled it by being honest with myself. I knew it was time for a fresh start, so I moved back north to coach at my alma mater, Penn.
Did fame and fortune change your life?
It gave me a platform. I used my fame to write books and articles to educate people on how the game should be played properly. It was never about the money for me. It was about the legacy of the sport.
Who had the biggest influence on your life?
My mother, Sarah, she supported my interests in a way that balanced my father's more rigid expectations. And of course, the great Walter Camp, even if we didn't always agree on the rules.
What was life like in your final years?
I served as the athletic director of the Downtown Athletic Club in New York. I was still very active in the sports community, helping to organize what would eventually become the trophy that bears my name.
What were you working on in your career before you passed away?
I was writing a massive, definitive history of football. I wanted to make sure the origins of the game were never forgotten.
When and where did you pass away?
I passed away on October 3rd, 1936, in New York City.
What happened?
I succumbed to pneumonia. I was 66 years old, and I'd like to think I went out still thinking about the next season's strategy.
What's a random fact about you most people have never heard?
I used to begin every single season by holding up a football and asking my players, "What is this?" Before they could answer, I'd say, "It is a prolate spheroid, an elongated sphere in which the outer leather casing is tightly drawn over an inflated rubber bladder." I wanted them to understand the physics of the ball.
What's the craziest rumor ever told about you?
Some people thought I was actually a professional actor using a pseudonym when I went to perform in the summers. It wasn't a rumor. I really was doing it.
What was your most unique habit?
I had a habit of quote-unquote acting out the plays on the sidelines. If a player missed a tackle, I might drop to the ground to show him exactly how it should have looked, with full dramatic effect.
What was your favorite food?
I was a meat and potatoes man. Though, as I mentioned, I had a strange obsession with the supposed benefits of raw steak for athletes.
Did you have a favorite book?
Anything by William Shakespeare. Hamlet was a particular favorite.
Did you have any known rivalries?
My rivalry was more with the rules committee. But on the field, games against Pop Warner were always intense. We were both trying to out-innovate each other.
Tell us a story nobody talks about.
People talk about the 2-22-0 game against Cumberland, but they don't always mention why I did it. Cumberland's baseball team had beaten my Georgia Tech baseball team 22-0 earlier that year using professional players. I wanted to show that running up a score was unsportsmanlike by doing it to the extreme. It was a lesson in logic.
What's your funniest behind-the-scenes moment?
Once, during a game, I used the hidden ball trick where the player tucked the ball under his jersey. The other team was so confused, they started tackling everyone except the man with the ball. I was laughing so hard, I nearly fell off the bench.
What was the most outlandish purchase you made?
I wasn't much for, quote, outlandish things, but I did spend a fair amount on high-quality theatrical costumes for my summer acting troupes.
What advice would you give people chasing success?
Don't just play the game, change it. If you see something that can be improved, don't wait for permission. Innovate. And remember, discipline is the foundation of every victory.
Coach, do you have any closing remarks about the interview or the stories you shared that you would like to share with the listeners before signing off?
Just that I am so happy to see how the game has flourished. It is a beautiful, complex dance, and I am honored that my name is still associated with the pursuit of excellence. Thank you for letting me share my story one more time. It's been a grand performance.
Thank you so much, Coach Heisman. What an incredible look into the mind of the man who truly shaped the gridiron. We talked about everything from the invention of the forward pass to the secret benefits of raw steak. And that wraps up another conversation from Beyond the Grave. Thanks for joining us on the Headstones and Microphones podcast. Remember, legends may die, but their stories never do. Please help spread the word by sharing and following the pod.